It is truly a vicious and troubled time that we live in, my lord. States devour other states, much as an alligator swallows fish. Weakness means subjugation, and neither can be tolerated. To protect the city of Handan and the kingdom of Zhao, you must see through to completion a critical portion of the Long Wall. Once finished, you can rest more easily in its shadow. In the meantime, beware. Violent enemies now ride the wind on fast new steeds, armed with iron weapons. Powerful new engines of war lay siege to unwary cities. If you study carefully the art of war and learn the ways of Sun Tzu, you will surely be better prepared for the trial you are about to face. Deposits of iron ore must be shaped into strong weapons for our soldiers. Our farmers will even benefit with more durable iron plows to better split the earth, increasing their output. Make good use of this new technology. You will find it important both on offense as well as defense.
G'day mates and welcome back to Emperor. Looks like today we're heading into the Iron Age. We are gradually moving forward in technology and looks like our farms will also create a higher output. We're also going on to the first part of the Great Wall, the Earthen Great Wall. Let's jump into the city and have a look what we're presented with. Pause time, slow it down as per usual. And okay, we've got a little bit of space down here and a fair chunk of farming space up here. It's a sort of a bit of an irregular shape, so I'm unlikely to put too much housing up here. But okay, so this is the Great Wall, or the base of it anyway. As far as I can tell, it requires a bunch of timber, and then it just requires labourers to pack down the earth. And obviously other people have built it up this far. We only have a small section to complete. Pretty easy, all things considered. Now the other requirements were to rule one city. Now that'll involve sending out our military and conquering some people. Apparently Anyang and Khufu do not count, but we may be able to conquer one of them, or even one of the other towns out here. We could probably hunt them down, maybe even get the nomad camps, who knows. Let's have a quick look at resources we've got here. We've got hunting and fishing, so there's two food types there, and a very central fishing location somewhere, wherever we'd put this, is pretty good, although I'll likely build my houses down here, so not sure about that. But we've got 4 food sources. That's pretty good. I think we'll live predominantly off farming, with these two here attempting to just supplement what we can get. Okay, we've got silk as well. Let's have a quick look at our gods. Oh, there we go. We've got Sun Tzu as well. So they're dropping off some of the ancestors occasionally on the various missions. We had Shennong last time, but we didn't have Huangdi, and this time it's been reversed. But Sun Tzu is the new one, and he is a military hero, I believe. I believe these two are both military heroes, so we may be able to send one or the other off to try and conquer one of the other people, one of the other cities. And of course, Taoism, nothing particularly interesting to look at here. Monuments requires, just carpenters and labourers. That's pretty easy. I'm going to experiment, have a look around, try and get a layout, and I'll be back once I know what I'm doing. Alrighty mates, we are pretty much set up here. This is how the city is going to look. You can see here our people heading off to try and open trade with the various cities out there. And I think things are pretty good looking for now. I'm going to have... Actually, I was thinking of... I've stuffed this up. I'll put this food here for the time being because we'll need it. But I was originally planning on having our nobles up here because that will leave them within easy reach of the mill and stuff, which I plan to have somewhere along here. So I may need to rethink that. But for the time being, I think we can have our basic food production here. Although... yeah, I'm probably better off actually cancelling this and going back to what I was originally thinking. So food production will be up here. I think I'll get that sorted. I'll get that sorted now, and that'll stop me from having to relocate it at a later date. How much are these things? They are pretty cheap. We've got a fair bit of cash in the bank. Now, I'm not really sure what direction I want to take. I think iron is going to be important. Now, this is copper. Yeah, these are copper ore deposits. They're not metal ore. So copper and iron are different. We may well have copper here, but we cannot make weapons from that. So what I need to find is where the iron is. And I should have probably looked before coming back to the camera. Alrighty, found it over here. So we've got iron ore deposits, these funny little bluish rocks. I suppose it's meant to look like iron, although I don't think iron ore is that colour in nature. Either way, we have ourselves the iron down here. Now up here, copper is not useless to us at the moment because when I throw down a administrative city, I'll be able to throw down the mint up here and that'll go up and mine that copper ore. Do we make bronzeware anymore? No, we do not make bronzeware, so that's unfortunate. We could have still mined that and you've got some clay from down here to make bronzeware. Too bad. I guess we will manage on something. We'll do something different. But I'm thinking weapons will be the immediate path that we go down. The real question is whether we will have enough export routes to make profit off that. Oh, hunting over here. So I'm going to have to figure that out. If not, then I suspect silk will be the route we go down for profit. Okay, the trade agreements are coming in. Looks like Pyongyang has accepted. Everybody else appears to be rejecting. Yep, they're all been rejected. So let's have a quick look at what Pyongyang will trade with us. They will sell us bronzeware we don't need. Jade could be useful if we can find another buyer for carved jade. They'll buy weapons though. That's very, very handy. And they'll buy 24 weapons, which is a pretty big sum. So I think that's what we're going to start with in regards to trade. We're going to be making iron weapons from here on out. Now Anyang will buy timber and carved jade as normal. And these guys will sell us jade. And they'll buy nothing else that we can produce, but they will sell us the jade for the other little bit. It's only a small amount of cash in the overall scheme of things, but that's another little bit that we can make. It's pretty much been a staple for the Zhou dynasty. But Pyongyang, I think, is where we're going to start sending our people once everybody moves in. Now we've got these pheasants running around. Looks like hunting can be done quite easily down here. I will probably move it away from this area. It's going to be quite cramped because we'll need to have hemp and ceramics and a few other things in this area as well. But I think you can probably do our hunting down here fairly easily. Now I've set up the fishing wharves along here. That'll be enough to supply us with one type of food in the early part of the game, and I think I will expand up along this shoreline as well as we start to grow the city higher. But for the early parts, we will have enough food going in. Let's double check our our workforce. We are pretty much secure. This is, actually most of them are probably all done now. That will mean none of these should collapse and we should be all taken care of there. Food going on. I'm not really sure how to proceed from here. Now obviously we need more workers. Let's put the rate up. That was a very minor change overall. What I'm thinking is I'll need to secure a second and possibly a third food source, and that can be done via farming very, very easily. Hunting can be a lower priority. I will do that later when I start getting onto the noble houses. I may not even do hunting if I can just import some food quite easily. I really don't like hunting. It's not quite stable enough. But getting onto iron will be important. So we get the iron smelters. So it's essentially the same building. It has just been replaced and the color is ever so slightly different. I can get that down here and get them mining all this iron very, very shortly once we get a little bit of a worker surplus. And then there's actually not a lot of iron, is there? There's only a few bits, and these ones I don't think they can access unless they can walk over the monument base. That could be a problem. Is there any more iron anywhere else? I don't think so. So that's the iron that we've got to work with. Not a huge amount, but should be a sufficient amount. I don't even know if they can get to that. It means they can only access sort of these couple of pieces here. Either way, we'll get enough iron industry set up to get our military and our exports going, and from then on, I'm not sure what we'll do. Alrighty, the first year is done. Let's have a quick look. The city is looking reasonably well. Food is beginning to flow into this block here. The fish, they're keeping us going so far. We've also got the early farming set down. This field is a little bit smaller than it could be, but it's all harmoniously placed, so I guess I am beginning to care about that a little bit more than I said I would originally. But either way, we now have ourselves sufficient unemployment to begin... yeah, I think I can get this all done here quite nicely. So I'll start throwing you guys down like that. 4 of those, how much do they take up each? 20 employees, so that is well and truly outstripped our supply capabilities for population, but it will also keep us going for a long time in the future. Now, how far do I want to go? Let's go up here, I suppose, make a bit of a block, and there we go. That'll keep it all going. They shouldn't wander up too far, and I can get that fully patrolled by an inspector. Now, employment, yep, has been absorbed. There we go. So they will start mining in all the stuff, and we can get the, where are we, weapons people, weaponsmiths going as quick as possible. Alrighty, plain food is now being distributed through the housing. They should be leveling up. No, they require hemp as well. Don't worry, hemp is coming in next, so we'll throw down a hemp shop as well. There's no point waiting around for that. I'm actually going to throw down 1 hemp shop because we have a fair bit of unemployment here. Now you can see over here I've thrown down the bones of our noble quarters. It's not going to be particularly big because we don't have any real requirement here. So I can fit in 4 housing here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the various support services can go around the outside as required. But the main reason for putting this down was because I can get the admin city and the palace down. So to that end, I've thrown down a tax office here and there. And of course, timber is now being cut and dropped off as required. Now let's just have a quick look at our feng shui. I've put a fair bit of effort into this. We're still only in harmonious balance because there are a couple of actually, you know what, that's the only building that's not there. I could destroy that and put that somewhere else and really get this to perfect feng shui. I may even do that just for a bit of a challenge. It could be a little bit of fun. Anyway, I'll throw that down later if I feel up to it. Alright, this is interesting. Looks like G, a city that we couldn't really trade or interact with before, has grown up, whatever that means, and can now be interacted with. So we couldn't send anything to them before, but now that we're here, we'll try to open trade with them immediately. Silken weapons, you know, I could actually do a bit of a silken weapon thing over here. Silk will probably be the next industry I go into. Currently cash is looking a little bit low because we're using all of our weapons here to put it into military quite quickly. I do expect this to be a fairly solid military mission. I've done a little bit of expansion over here and I've absorbed, oh shit, we've got a fair bit of unemployment building up even so, but I've absorbed a whole bunch over here. What this will allow us to do is go into getting a couple of nobles set up very, very quickly. We can still get, 1, 2 here, and a 3rd one there, and possibly a 4th one here. It'll be a little bit tight, but I think we can get most of them in and still get all the services around. Alrighty, G has rejected our trade agreement, but let's have a quick look at what they will do. They will buy iron, which I wonder how much that is worth, and they'll also sell us bean curd, so not a particularly useful trade partner, but maybe if we have a huge surplus of iron later on. Unlikely though. Over here I've thrown down to absorb some of our unemployment. I've thrown down our import-export for carved jade. So we are running a little bit low on cash and we still haven't actually got any export at all. But jade is 95 coming in and 230 going out. Let's have a quick look how happy they are. They're agreeable, although that's going downwards. So it may be worthwhile just putting this up just a tiny little bit. See if we can milk a tiny little bit of extra money out of them. Now that's only 10 over 12 units. That's what? That's 120 extra gold per year. Not really a big difference, but we'll get things ticking over. Alrighty, looks like G is going to be somebody who's going to be attacking us very, very shortly. They are surprisingly extremely outraged. I'm not really sure why. They've just come into the world and maybe it's like going to jail. You want to walk in and punch the biggest guy you can find. So they are going to come in and attempt to, I guess, attack us at some point in the future. Like you've got my military ticking over here, but unfortunately that's the maximum we can produce. So I'm going to need to consider throwing down our, what are these dudes here? Our elite housing very, very quickly. I'll get you there and another one there. So that's those guys placed down quick smart. I'll get some gardens to beautify the area up a little bit. If I can afford that. We are running very low on cash. What was that message that just popped up? 3,000 people. So again, we're having a little bit of an issue here with unemployment. I'm going to have to I'm going to have to seriously consider absorbing the unemployment. To that end, I think I actually cleared a lot of trees. I probably shouldn't have cleared quite so many trees. Oh, there's a whole bunch up there. What we're going to do now is start throwing down the people to do this monument. We can start working on this very, very easily, I think. I think a couple of logging sheds for now should get that ticking over. And I'll throw a couple more up here. Now, I don't know if... Actually, they will. They're going to require a warehouse to store that. So I'll throw a warehouse there and a warehouse here. And this will accept nothing but timber. And that'll allow us to begin loading up. Nothing but timber. Loading up this monument here. As well as beginning to absorb some of this outrageous unemployment we've got. I'm going to need labor camps as well, I think. Okay, demands for iron are now starting to come in. Ooh. Okay, Lo Yi and G are both demanding iron. Now, G's we are not, almost certainly not going to get. We can't produce 12 bars in 2 months. So I suspect that is just a prelude to an attack. Lo Yi, on the other hand, is asking for a more reasonable 6 bars of iron in, how many months was it? 4 months. Something we can probably produce. However, given that G also put up that request, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that because we're simply going to need this weapon production to be going at top speed. So, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I wonder if have we been growing silk yet? Evidently not, because we haven't produced anything. I'm going to need some cash. Quick smart. When does silk begin? In April, so very, very shortly. You can also export all the silk. You're not exporting weapons, but I'll have to find space for that shortly. And of course we've got a fair bit of unemployment here, but 6% is acceptable. I think I can handle that for the time being. We're going to need to buff up our military. You're at... How do I use this? Military is a bit difficult to use here. You are currently 16 infantry and 16... So we are at maximum infantry. What I can probably consider doing is working on... Now that these guys are leveling up, they need appetizing food. So you should be appetizing food. You shouldn't be... Is that appetizing food? We'll find out. Is that appetizing food? Current quality is... Oh no, that's ceramics. So it could well be that we're going to get appetizing food. And of course now G is launching an invasion and... Yeah, there we go. We just failed it and they're launching the invasion. So things are going to be getting very hairy very, very shortly. We've got no cash and our military is very small. Alrighty, Sun Tzu has arrived. Now G is coming in about 2 months. So we have ourselves a hero to help protect us. I'm going to assume that they're going to come from the north. So I'm going to move Sun Tzu over this direction so he can be a little bit closer and we might be able to hold these guys off. Now... Yeah, I suspect they'll probably come northeast, so probably up here somewhere. If they come down this direction, I'm pretty stuffed because there's no room to maneuver, and they will run right over top of me. How come you haven't got food? That is interesting. I'm not sure why they're disintegrating and falling down. That we should have sufficient food in the area. Okay, 1 more month, they'll be here. And here we go, G has launched the invasion. Let's take these guys down. And there we go, invasion force completely crushed. Sun Quan is retreating and running home like a scared little boy that he is. With that, we lost almost nothing. That was actually a surprisingly easy battle. I thought we would be up against a hell of a lot more, considering we really haven't had enough time to build everything up. But there you go, we have done pretty well. They require an acrobat, so let's get on to leveling up our people just a bit further. You are going to require an inspector, so I can throw you there. And I think if I'll throw that there. So let's just double check our harmony. We're currently in perfect harmony, so our feng shui is spectacular across the board. Everything is completely covered. Happy New Year. Yep, go for it. Things are looking pretty good so far. I'm probably going to need to bump up our food production, and that'll absorb this tiny little bit of unemployment that's coming up, because it looks like food is not quite getting there in the quantities that we need. Okay, we've had a few messages pop up regarding the fact that they cannot get timber to the right location because it's too distant. I'm not really sure exactly what they're referring to. It must be, because we have here a timber yard down here that should be supplying here. That's correct. Timber here is probably too distant, so it might pay to actually throw down a couple of timber cutters in this area just here, I think. Actually, we've already got a couple here, so I'm not sure what's going on there. And I have thrown a couple extras up here, so maybe that should get that all sorted. Either way, the labourers should be running up in a little bit to take care of all that. I think I'll throw down another little labourers camp there and there. We'd require additional workers. Gee, thinks less of me. Oh yeah, because they invaded me, as if I'm going to give them extortion demands. Silk is going well. Weapons are also good. At this point, let's just double check how things are going over here. We're going to require silk to level these guys up, so I can throw down a sneaky little warehouse somewhere. Probably down here. If I throw down a warehouse, that'll allow us to get the silk over and level these guys up to whatever they're called, special Sihe Yuans. Alrighty, looks like G has not learnt their lesson. They're throwing down another invasion. That could be a small problem. I suspect it's probably going to be bigger than the invasion before that. I'm going to throw down a couple of extra weavers as well, just to try and get everything going here. Actually, I'm going to wall that off. I don't want our inspectors going the wrong way and having this whole area burned down. But G's coming along. We still only have the 2 troops. I'm going to need to bring, what's his name back? Sun Tzu. And see what we can do to take them down. Alrighty, G has attacked. Let's see if we can take these guys down a second time. And there we go, round 2, we've taken these guys out. Another thing to note, I'm building cavalry instead of chariots. Look like chariots are no more. Now I don't know if these cavalry guys are ranged or not, but I suppose that's the benefit of iron weapons. We've teched up to the next level. Okay, we're battling a number of different things here. Unemployment's one of them. Being sort of confined to keep everything to harmonious locations is giving me a little bit of an issue. I may have to destroy a couple of houses, but I really do hate doing that. So I will avoid doing that as much as possible. Yep, you're being taxed beautifully. Excellent. The other one is food has been a little bit irregular. So I've opened up a trade area with Wu. We're now selling off a large portion of our excess silk, which is what I'm putting a lot of our unemployment towards. But we're bringing in fish, rice, and salt. We're also importing cabbage over here. So that will give us a lot more stability with our food. It's also jumped our money up by nearly 3 times what it was before. So things are looking pretty good. At this point, it's pretty much a waiting game. We've smashed out the number of iron bars in 1 year. We need to rule one city, and at this point it's going to be G, because I really just do not like G. And of course the earthen wall needs to be completed, and that's ticking along fairly gradually. At this point we need a lot of carpenters, so I suppose that is how I'm going to absorb everything unemployment from here on out. Great news has just come up. Sun Quan, the leader of G, has just sent... Oh, it's even better news, has just sent his military away, and of course I've been working on getting Sun Tzu back into the city again. This time what we're going to do is invade G. We're going to smash them out and take them down, and they are going to be our subject city. So to that end we're going to conquer, and we're going to throw out 1 thing of infantry, 1 of the celestial rabbits, and the archers, or the crossbowmen, and we're going to send 1 thing of cavalry as well. We're going to keep a cavalry and an infantry back to protect me if required, but we're also going to send off Sun Tzu as a hero to battle with them. So that should pretty much guarantee that we're taking down the people of G. We're going to attack their military. We're going to attack them very fiercely. Tribute severity can be normal. I only need them to be just generic. And we're going to want... I'm probably going to want a demand of weapons from them. They produce bean curd, which we don't need, and they need iron, which means I probably can't demand iron from them. Carved jade's no use. I may even be able to just demand silk. I'll demand silk from them. I don't know if that means anything. If maybe I'll get a smaller amount than normal, or maybe they won't be very happy to provide it. I'm not sure. But we'll demand silk from them, a standard amount, and this should be enough to take them down and make them our subject. And there we go, we have conquered G. They are very much ashamed when they now owe us tribute. So our forces did manage to take them down. I'm in the process of buffing up our military just a little bit more as well with another fort of infantry. That will give us 3 defensive infantry forts, 1 archer fort, and 2 cavalry. And that should be sufficient to take down most of the things we're going to encounter. For some reason, we're not getting very many carpenters there. This is going very, very slow, this overall construction. I probably could speed it up by putting a bunch of stuff on the north here. And that might be what I do. And there we go, tribute paid by G. 2 bolts of silk. It's not a huge amount, but we're going to keep them under our thumb. Let's just double check that they're happy as well. They are currently bitter. So to that end, I could probably send them a gift of iron. It's only a small gift. That's all I've really got stocked up at the moment. But if I can get them to be a little bit more happy, then they're probably less likely to try and rebel in the future. Okay, another couple of materials failed to reach monument. Source is too distant. I'm not really sure what that could possibly mean. Maybe here demands materials, so they're trying to come from maybe the other storage yards or something. I'm not really sure. Either way, I've connected these up so that all the timber yards now can share resources, so they should send them down to these more central ones as well, and hopefully that will take care of everything. It really is probably the most annoying monument to build for me, but we're getting there gradually. Alrighty, G has become angry. Does that mean they're going to turn against us or not? They are rebellious, so I can quell that with military, or I can try and... Maybe I can try and... No, that's requesting something. Let's send them a gift to try and bring them back on side. Now they need... I'm not going to give them weapons because that just doesn't make sense. Iron is just not enough. So at this point, let's just try giving them a large stockpile of cash and see if that makes them a little bit happier. I've got more than enough cash lying around, so hopefully we can keep them... Withholds tribute. Yeah, okay. Whatever. Okay, they've thanked me for the cash. Yeah, Happy New Year, blah, blah. Are they any happier? Okay, they're now loyal. Well, that was really surprisingly easy. Is anyone else pissed off at me? Lo Yi is respectful. An Yi doesn't care. Ying's pissed off because I didn't give them iron before. Oh well, looks like they're very, very happy. They're now loyal which means we can demand whatever we want. So they should continue paying their tribute. Tribute has been suspended, but it should come back shortly. And here we go. We've completed the first level of the Great Earthen Wall. So we've put up the basic scaffolding with the timber to hold it in, and we're going to fill that all with dirt. And I assume they then just pack that down and then put the timber scaffolding up a little bit higher. Things seem to be moving a hell of a lot more quickly now that I've connected this area here. Perhaps they were trying to source all their timber from here and it just wasn't working. Either way, things are looking pretty good right now. Alrighty, looks like it is Year of the Rabbit. Let's have a look at what we can get. We get special gifts, which is pretty much the thing I normally get. Reduced building cost is completely useless because we have shit tons of money, as well as essentially unlimited, or no real need to build anything anymore. Improved production yield is a gamble. Often you'll get things that you can't produce, and defensive bonus we don't need. Let's go for production yield and have a bit of a gamble, see what we get. Kilns, clay pits, so at least 2 of those are useful marginally, although we may as well start giving away all of our ceramics, so at the very least we can make use of that. And leveled up our noble housing to impressive compounds, which is the highest we can get to. We do not have access to drama. I'll throw another little one in here, but unfortunately had to bulldoze a couple of tiles of the, what's it called? Tile, the lavish road, the Grand Way, that's what it's called. However, I just realised I could probably even make a little link through here, so they can access it via that direction rather than having this path up the back here. And that would allow me to put the Grand Way back in here, or at least even put it at the back here to make it look nice from behind. But you know, I don't really care enough to juggle it around. I'm fairly happy. We've still got perfect harmony for everything, and at this point it is very much a waiting game for this great monstrosity of a wall to be built. And we're currently in the second layer. Here. They are still throwing in the dirt and pounding that down as required. So we are getting there gradually. Confucius say, men who run in front of car get tired. Men who run behind car get exhausted. Alrighty, at this point just throwing down whatever I can to try and expand things and make them go a little bit quicker. I've had to up our wage rate slightly, but that'll only make people happier, so that doesn't bother me. Materials you saw there briefly pop up before this thing came up. Materials failed to reach site too distant, or whatever it says. So I'm not sure where they're complaining about. From what I think is happening is they come up here, they come up this area here, and then they tried to travel, or maybe they just dump it there, I'm not sure. Low yield regards me more highly. 2 stacks of wood actually, so we're nearly done. This should be the final bit of wood required, unless it's doing it via per level, in which case it'll take a bit longer. But carpenters, 2 carpenters. It's got to build something down here, I suspect. Okay, there you go. So now we're on to the next level. 90 labourers and another 45 loads of dirt. And that's where these labour camps here will start coming in handy. So I've been trying to figure it out, and as far as I can tell, it's bad programming, or unless I'm missing something completely here, they all come up to this main central area. So, and then from there they travel down the length of it. So it could well be that these end bits here are a little bit too far away from, or sometimes are too far away. I'm not sure, maybe it's trying to route from a really far distance or something. But this is too far away from the center here to count as usable, and that's what those pop-ups up the top mean. If that is the case, it really is just bad programming. They should have put in multiple access areas, but you gotta work with what you got. Okay, here we go. They are patting down the dirt and compacting it in as hard as they can. We're making the final structure of the wall here. Okay, with that done, it looks like it's up to the carpenters now. They're just going to pull all the scaffolding down, so we'll end up with essentially this little bit of wall that they started us with there on both sides. So, there we go, yep. Beautiful. Happy New Year yet again. All nice and done. This is the Great Earthen Wall, pretty much complete. And that is our final... Do I not rule? Rule one city. Okay, they're rebelling. I have not had a notification for that. That's very interesting. Either way, let's send them a large gift of cash and see if we can bring them back on board. Otherwise, I'm going to have to... actually, let's just quell the rebellion. They can have the cash and be happy about it, but we're going to send off a large force to take them down. And let's put the tribute severity up to harsh. Okay, looks like the people of G had victory. They actually managed to defeat our forces that we sent to them. That is interesting. In that case, we're going to require getting Sun Tzu on our side, but we're going to need to rebuild our forces when they come back. Defeated warriors return. How many of them are there? Looks like there's a fair few of them. I don't think we lost too many. Either way, we can now produce some soldiers. Looks like our infantry took some fairly heavy losses. Now G has become angry. I think that means they've broken free because they've defeated us. So we're going to smash out a couple of soldiers, get our forces fully prepared again, and we're going to bring in Sun Tzu to go take them down this time. And here we go, Sun Tzu has arrived. We can now send him off to go and take down G a second time. Let's quell them. What are we going to require? We're going to require infantry. Let's send off both of those guys. That and our stronger force of infantry. I can still rebuild these infantry here. I am worried that other people will see us as weak, but by having at least one of them here, we should be able to take them down. I'm only going to go for a normal tribute this time, and cash is good enough. I don't need any more silk, so we'll send them off and see what happens. And there we go, the Great Wall is complete just after I sent those guys off. Looks like a gate has magically appeared. Now, I'm assuming that's going to protect us. Looks like Huang Di now is exalted as well, so I can bring him into the city whenever I want for military purposes. So perhaps Sun Tzu was not the right one to send off. Either way, we'll see if we can win. And with that, I should slow time down. That should give us the final requirement we need to win this mission.
The trumpets of war bellowed, but you did not cower nor run. A sturdy and massive wall now stands as protection against the evil intentions of our many foes.
And there we go, the Great Wall has been built, or at least in its earthen form. No doubt we will have to come back sometime in the future to touch it up and maintain it, but that is the basic done, iron and earth, and we now rule G. They never actually did get that pop-up. But you know what, that is the end of this episode, so smash that thumbs up button if you do indeed enjoy all this beautiful monument building we're doing, and we'll head in next time and see if the Zhou dynasty can hold it together.